Now, the Elegy of the Black Ninja goes back to 2009 when my son-in-law Rob and I teamed up to buy the bike. We split the cost of it because I didn't want him to get a 250. I wanted him to have a real motorcycle. He had spent the whole summer riding my GS, and he really didn't have the money for a big full-size bike. We wound up settling on this mid-size bike. It was, and the first thing he did when he got to my garage was take off all the stickers. He didn't like the stickers. He didn't like the lower fairing. He wanted it to look more like a naked bike. And since he was the primary rider at that time, we went on many rides. We switched bikes in the middle of the ride many times. He loved my GS, and I think to this day, if he had gotten a bigger bike, then instead of having that 650 Ninja, I'd have a bigger bike. But we went on a lot of rides through the park, a lot of rides through Harriman. This is on Arden. And one of the things whenever I would ride the bike, I would be shocked at how good this bike was. At the time, back in 2009, I wasn't so sure this was, exactly what I wanted. So what happened is, over the years, I had done some track days with the bike. Here we went with Luciano and with Najat and them to the track, and the bike turned out to be way better than I ever thought it would be on the track. It was really fun to ride. And because this is such a low maintenance bike, that's one of the things I like. Like Najat's Ducati was a lot more maintenance. And I think we were having the same amount of fun without the maintenance. But anyway, we had a lot of time on the track. We had a lot of fun together. But then I had to make a decision, because Rob decided when my grandson was born that he basically was going to stop riding and just ride maybe a few times a year. So what I did, I took over the bike and I wanted to do a full restoration on it. And I went down to the studs with this bike. All of the paint on this bike is Bentley black. Every drop of paint is Bentley black. I mixed my own gold paint, came up with my own paint scheme thanks to the help of John Pothier. Did some very elaborate decals with the help of Thomas Luciano. The gold wheels, absolutely labor of love. And by the way, all of these things, every step of restoring this bike, look at that Bentley black reflection. Every step of this bike restoration is out on the channel. You just need to search and it's out there. And the seat cowl, when I finished that part, that was a prototype part, I was so happy. And to this day, this bike always amazes me how good it is. It always punches above its weight, and I'm going for a ride right now. What was always obvious to me, you'd ride bikes and we'd switch in the middle of the ride, how light and nimble that Black Ninja always had. That feeling that it was a lot smaller and lighter than it was. I'd get back on the GS and it felt a little heavy. Now, there's been a lot of bikes that I've bought and sold and had over the years, and I've had a lot of bikes in my lifetime that have been disappointing. I dreamed that they were going to be much different than they were, more comfortable, faster, slower, have better this or better that, but they've always disappointed me. This is one bike that surprised me. When Rob got this bike originally and I rode it for the first time, I said, whoa, is this thing a sleeper? Holy mackerel. And it's the handling that makes it just a little bit better than the rest. And the same thing was true when we go to the track. The Ninja always felt lighter, and I got to ride some of Luciano's other bikes, and the Ninja always felt lighter and more nimble and more friendly. And it's the good handling combined with the fact it has a nice linear throttle response. It has really, really smooth power delivery. And it's got a sound that you can go through these populated areas and not attract any attention. And once the road opens up, it sounds like an Indy car. One of the lessons I learned early in life is don't spend a whole winter and hundreds of hours restoring a bike you don't have at least 1 year of riding on, so you really get to know if you like it or you don't like it before you spend the time and energy. Another surprise I had with this bike is I thought after a year or two it was going to get to be kind of hum and mundane. It never did. It just keeps getting better and better the more years of riding I have on it. And with the Michelin 6s on it now, I just can't explain. It's really a good handling bike. And my good friend Guy, he did a really, really smart thing. Before he put a lot of time and energy into refinishing and customizing his Triumph track bike and powder coating parts and wheels and swing arms, he rode the bike for a year, went to several track days, got to see if he really liked it. Is this going to be the bike that suits him well? And if you spent all that time ahead of time and then found out, oh, this is not the bike for me, it's kind of a waste. It's kind of like getting a horse ahead of the cart. I didn't fall for that trick when it came to this bike. I made sure I really loved it before I spent that time to do this over. And the patience really paid off in the end, because after I was done with the customizing features I wanted, I had a bike I was comfortable with, and I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. Now, I always try to take at some part of a ride and just relax. I enjoy going through the gears. I enjoy looking at the scenery. I enjoy just sitting back and enjoying the scenery in these little backwood back roads. It's all fun, it's all good, and this bike does all of these things pretty well. Now, some of my friends disagree, but I always think the hardest thing of all with a motorcycle is design it in such a way that it does a lot of things well. It doesn't do just one thing. It's a multi-dimensional bike. It takes, in this case, it's comfortable. It's low maintenance. It doesn't eat tires up. It doesn't require very expensive maintenance at a dealer. It has so many things going for it. But the biggest thing of all is you just get on the bike, go through the gears, and it's just fun to ride. It's not a hassle to go out on a ride. And some bikes even that I've had in the past, as the day is worn on, they start feeling heavier and heavier and more work to ride. This bike is always like a sports car. And what makes it special is the handling. What makes it great on the back roads. Roads can be a little slippery. Leaves can be falling. They can already have salted the roads. And the bike just doesn't seem to get affected by it. Not all bikes are like that. Some bikes get a little antsy when they don't have good, perfect traction. And then, of course, when this bike has perfect road traction, warm, clean streets, it's really even more fun. But you get a lot of possibilities for a day's riding in the saddle, and no matter where you ride it, it is always fun to ride. And after 39,000 miles, there's not one thing about the bike that's been a problem. It certainly hasn't needed any maintenance at all. Now, another little funny part of the Elegy, when Rob and I were riding, and you can see the lakes are still frozen, there's snow here. Many times we'd go out and he was really gung-ho to ride, and he didn't exactly dress like for the weather. And a lot of times he'd come home and be really cold. And he went out and bought this giant black windshield. Look at the windshield on this bike now. And I remember thinking at the time, yeah, I don't think you have to go to that length to do it. But when I restored the bike, of course, I put the stock windshield back on. Now, every day it's just been getting a little bit cooler. There's not many leaves left on the trees. And I've been going out later and later in the day trying to get the warmest part of the day. But sooner or later, it gets really brutal here. And then they salt the roads. And that, in this part of the country, this bike has one thing going for it. You can't believe how convenient it is. It's very easy to clean. When you ride on salted roads, it's a very easy bike to get the salt off. So after 16 long years of full restoration, custom paintwork, among other things, custom wheels. Wow, I love that Bentley black. That is, you got to see that in real life. That is beautiful. The gold wheels. This bike has grown on me over the years. It's never stopped growing. And it just seems like a fine bottle of wine. It just gets better and better every time you take a drink. Unless you drink that wine that Guy makes. I'm not so sure about that wine at all. Now, if you're new to our channel, we have a very, very eclectic channel. One of the new features we have now is some of the videos are grouped into groups that you can access all the videos for one category in one mouse click. And it should be very convenient and very handy. Just check out the feature on the main screen playlist. And thanks to everybody for supporting the channel. We appreciate your support, and it makes this channel possible with all the things we do. The painting, the wheels, the polishing. And please take a second or two and hit the like button. And thanks everyone for watching.